subject specialist for business over at the Alvin Sherman Library, which is the main library right next door. Go take a look when you get a chance. It's a beautiful building, 5 stories high. We are a joint use facility with the county, so we also serve the public as well as NOVA students. So there's a lot of activities that go on over there, programming for children, for adults, and a lot of things like that, including an art gallery as well. So if you need a little culture, come over and come see it. So today I'm going to talk to you about the library resources and what we are offering to you. NOVA has 4 libraries on campus, one actually a little bit off campus. So if you go to NOVA's main site here, and you go to the research button, okay, and you go to the libraries, you'll see here Alvin Sherman Library, that's the main one next door. The Health Division has their own library, Law has its own library, and the Ocean Sciences has their own library. You're going to go to the Alvin Sherman Library page. You probably want to bookmark this, and inside your handouts today in your pamphlets, there is a couple of things you should know about. One of them is this brochure, so if you don't remember the site and you don't remember some of the things I tell you today, this is a really good reference for you to go back to tell you how to find books and how to get help, and the other things we'll talk about as we go along. So the one thing that I really want you to learn about and remember today is this Ask a Librarian box. We have reference staff that are on the reference desk physically 7 days a week. If you click on that, it tells you what our hours, so we are here till 8 and 9 o'clock on the weekends. You can call us, and there's our phone number there for the reference desk. You can email us, you can chat with us, you can text, and then you can also schedule a one-on-one with a librarian. So if you're doing some coursework, or if you haven't been back in school for a while, and it's your first entree back, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know how to find books, just don't worry about that. You can sign up here, click on this Make an Appointment, and you can fill out this form. You have 4 options to let you know when, you can put in you're available at night, you're available on weekends, whatever. Put in your times and days that you're available. We will meet with you in person. We can meet with you when you go to meetings. So if you're not from here, if you came in just for today, we'll share our screen and walk you through the whole process and help you get the information you need. Any questions about that?
Yeah, for online access, is there any special credential for accessing the library?
When you log in, and we'll do a short demonstration today, you just sign in with your Shark user ID, user ID and password.
And what about RefWorks? Do you have that, and can we use that when we're working on research and citations?
What do you mean RefWorks? RefWorks, the university provides EndNote to you for free.
Oh, not RefWorks?
No.
All right.
So, and there's a whole LibGuide for EndNote as well.
Okay. And
we do a lot of workshops, which I'll talk about as well.
Okay.
There's a lot available for you. You just have to take advantage of it. Okay. So any questions about making an appointment or? Go back here. Okay, so this is how you find out about your library account, the hours. These workshops and instruction, this is all supplemental to your coursework, but there's, when you click on that, it'll tell you things that are coming up. So if you need APA and you're in Jacksonville, these are all different workshops. Some of them are online, some of them are in person, but you can always go through and see what's there. Some of the ones that have been done before, there are presentations available and the handouts are available. So if you need to brush up on your APA or whatever, you can get an intro to the library, you can do that as well. Okay, and if you want to work on campus, just so you know, you can reserve a study room. These are Click on that, it'll tell you what's open, what's reserved, and you can book these up to 2 weeks in advance. So if you know you're gonna be here and you wanna come after your Saturday class and you wanna reserve a study room or any other time, you can do that as well. So, back here. NovaCat is our library catalog. In there, that's where you're gonna find all the books that we have, e-books that we have, media, so if you need DVDs, anything like that, those are all gonna be in the catalog. And just to search anything there, you just type in, you put in real estate. Complete. So it's gonna tell you what we have, and because you they do it by relevance, so you do get the most at the top. The thing to pay attention to, if it's print, it'll tell you, and it will also have a call number. Notice the location. So if you wanted this book on real estate finance law, it's at the law library. Students that are not law students can go to the law library to use references there, but you cannot take things out of there. And it'll also tell you it's available or not. So if it's not available, it'll tell you, there'll be a due date there because someone has it out. There's some ebooks, and then it'll tell you how to access them. Usually just click on it there. I will tell you that our collection development policy, because since I'm the business librarian, I buy the stuff for the business school. So I buy the tech, I don't want to say text, books, online, ebooks, print books, any other things that come up. I have a budget for it, buy for the business school to support the programs. So we do not buy textbooks. That is part of our collection development policy. It is, textbooks are you get them at the bookstore, or online, or however else. We do have some textbooks though, because you may have a good older edition. So a lot of times you can always tell the beginning of the semester, we're gonna get bombarded this week. Do you have this or this? Is that a textbook? Yeah. Oh, we might have it, but it's maybe 2 editions ago. And then they're gonna ask, well, what's the difference? Well, there's probably, if there's a new edition, I'm sure there's been some updated information. So, but just so you're aware of that. So don't come asking. Yes?
Where are these other libraries relative to Sherman?
The law library is actually right next door to the business school. HPD is, if you came in from University Drive and right before you hit the Dolphin Training Center over there, that library is over there, and Ocean is out in Dania on the Oceanographic campus. Probably won't have a lot, although actually I wouldn't say that because of the environment and some of the things with water, there probably is some things there, but it's a beautiful place to go visit, so if you have the opportunity, try to get over there.
Do you have a reference section for real estate, such as the ULI series of books?
That's actually what I handed out.
Right. Okay,
Yes.
so those books were in our reserve collection, and it didn't make sense to leave them there. So what we have now, they are now in the general collection, so you can look up each book and go. Reference is on the library, it's on the 2nd floor. So whenever you come up, you have questions, the reference desk is on the 2nd floor, and the reference books are on the 2nd floor. The general collection after that is on the 3rd floor and the 4th floor.
But all of these books that on that list I gave you are all now in the general.
They are now
collection,
all in the general collection.
which means they can be checked out.
They can be checked out. Also on the 2nd floor is where we have all the periodicals that we have in print, which is slowly declining because we're doing more and more online. And all of the current newspapers are on the 2nd floor as well, and also on the 1st floor in the public area. So say, let's go to, let's see if we have one that's, it's not fun. Also, you'll notice we have a lot of E. Okay, so, and the reason we do that is because we have a lot of distance students here. So most of the time, we will try to buy a book as an electronic book, just so you're aware of that. A lot of the books from the Land Use Institute are not available electronically, so that's kind of an issue. But if we look at this one here, an introduction to real estate finance, right, and there's a call number, it's Sherman Library, and see it's due 9/15. So say you want, you say, gee, I really want that book, you can put a hold on it. Or if you're distance, you can order for delivery. So you would fill out this form, hold for pickup if you're local. When it comes back in, they'll send you an email, let you know the book's available. You have, I think, 5 days to come pick it up. Same, if you need it for if you're a distance student, they will mail you the book. You are responsible, they will mail it to you free of charge. To send it back, you have to pay the postage. If multiple people need multiple books, you can do an interlibrary loan. I want to cover that here too, because that happens. So right here is an interlibrary loan, document delivery. You go there, you have to authenticate yourself. Let me just show you what that looks like. And then it gives your information. You can order books, you can order articles, you can order, chapters of a book, whatever. So if, say you go to book chapter, you fill in all the information that you have, what time, by what date you need it by, and you can do that as well. They're really, and you have a whole department that just does fulfillment on those interlibrary loans. Yes?
Do you just have print or do you have e-books as well?
For
Any one of these resources? Are they in print and or electronic?
something that we have or something that another library has?
Something that you have.
Not everything is electronic, a lot of it is in print. So if it is in print and you need a chapter of something and it's out or whatever, it's up to that department to find another library that has it and get you that chapter or get you that book. Or the article. And if they have, the article, they'll send it to you electronically. Any other questions about that? Okay, so let's go back. Articles is where we have, these are the databases. Most people start searching here. That's not what you want to do because it's only limiting you to Gale. You're going to go to databases by subject. And we have the subjects at the top, and we have by material type on the bottom. So when you're looking for dissertations or you need dictionaries, those are down here. Newspapers and current events, that's down here. Statistical sources, that's here. So just know that we have different types. Grants, that's another thing. If you go into business, there's 70 databases here. That's a lot. We have top picks at the top. Different databases have different kinds of information. So when you're doing finance and things like that, you might want to be using Mergent. When you're doing, general resources and trade publications, or you might be looking at Business Source Premier or ABI Inform. There's tons of stuff here. Bloomberg has a huge variety of resources. Some of them are broken out, but this is the general one here. They have information on the environment. They have information on taxes. They have information on, corporate development. Every time you go in here, you have to sign in, so. Okay, so here's the different areas for your information. Here's some things in the environment which may be relevant for you. There's intellectual property, litigation, taxes and accounting, business, all those. So really start looking through and get familiar with the various offerings within the databases because it's really some really great resources here for you. Get back. then, the list goes on and on. So I'm not gonna get into how to search today and all that, we'll get into some of that in Mark's first class. But again, if you haven't been searching in a while, and schedule a one-on-one with one of the librarians, and we'll walk you through. There's how to find company information, maybe you're doing something, maybe you want to do something in a particular industry. We can help you navigate things, because it can be overwhelming. Do not be embarrassed. I'm telling you, the students working on their dissertations who haven't done anything in a long time either, so we're that's what we're here for. Okay, Journal Finder is used when you're doing your work and you get a list of references and they say, oh, this is great, I want to look this article up. That's when you use Journal Finder. And that's where you would, put in the title of the journal. And what this will do is tell you which databases we have it in. So, pay attention to the years that they offer, because if you want the present, you're only going to get, it's only in this one right here. When you click on that, then you would look for the particular volume and issue that you want. And this is also a great way for you to keep up to date on anything that you're interested in your field. You can set alerts up in almost all the publications that we have. So you click on that, you would be reading everything that's in that particular issue. So you can do the same for any of your real estate publications, any news things that you want. You can set an alert up and have the information sent to you when the new edition comes. Any questions so far?
Concerning the interlibrary loan,
Okay.
I haven't done that a lot. Does that work with all universities across the country, or? The department in the library, it's their job to find out who has it. So it could be right next door, it could be like a Broward College, or it could be in Alabama or California, and it's their job to find it, locate it, and get it to you. Okay.
And you're doing work and you need it tomorrow, that's not a good time for interlibrary loan. Your paper's due tomorrow, you're not going to get it by tomorrow. It will take probably, we tell you, I think it takes up to 2 weeks, but in reality, they're really pretty good. You can get it within a couple of days, but the policy is up to 2 weeks. But again, remember that last minute thing is not going to work real well. And we have that happen. So you have to find a substitute for something else. Does not want to let you get out of there. Okay. Tutorials. This is, these are our guides. These are the library guides that we put together. So for writing in citation styles, when you get to APA and you need to have a source on how to do that. EndNote, which is what I mentioned before. This will tell you how to load it, how to do it, how to work with it. Again, if you have specific questions about any, especially EndNote or APA, you can schedule a one-on-one with the librarian for that particular topic. Let me go back here. So we go to subject. I want to show you what we have here for business economics. We have the business resources page. So this is the library guide for business. It encompasses all of what we're doing at the business school, because we used to have individual ones and it was too repetitive and a little crazy, so we decided to make one big one. So on this home page, you're going to find the general business databases that have stuff that's going to help you for a lot of different things as well. Okay? Business ebooks, these are all, there's some reference books here. These are books that are mostly business, some general business periodicals, and some websites as well, and then some library workshops that are here as well that you can sign up for. So the ones that are like 12-15, that's also going to be online. So if you're working and you do this during your lunch time, you can take a webinar time and sign up for that. Also under this home, we have a guide on careers. There's a page for company and industry information, demographics and statistical information, which I think will be useful for you guys, dissertation resources, and market research. Under the how-to, we have, again, here's a link directly to the APA guide, how to evaluate sources and websites, dealing with plagiarism, and getting started on your research. And then here, for real estate, so this is gonna be interesting, because I just really started learning a lot about your program in the last month or so. So what we have here is a work in progress, and will be updated with the resources that professors have been giving me. We're gonna look at some of the other schools that have real estate programs and make this hopefully more relevant for you and more useful. So right now, the books were just updated though, so you can see some of the more current books that we have and different things dealing with real estate. And these are just examples. It's just kind of, as we get new things, we'll post them here so you can kind of see what's new in the field. Here, these are periodicals that the library has access to that you can click on and again get started with. Some websites. You guys have those specific databases that are not included on the library databases. I think we're gonna have a section we'll start incorporating some of that, even if it's just not the link for you to sign into, but at least some information about it so that you'll know what's used for what. So this is really a work in progress for you guys especially. So as we find websites that are more useful, different associations, different types of things, we will load that up. Any questions? Not till you get started doing the work. Okay, so also in your handouts, there's a quick reference guide for APA. There are also these frequently asked questions about research, because in case you don't remember anything, so looking for scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. People kind of freak out about that. Basically, most databases just have a little button that says scholarly and peer-reviewed. It's all it is, just checking those. We'll get more into detail in your individual classes about that. Again, which database to use? You should use more than one anyway. Some people they kind of get addicted to one, but because different publishers, ProQuest Central doesn't have every publisher in there. And some of the other ones are just published ones. So you want to get familiar with different ones because they have different perspective. Emerald is out of the UK, so they have a different perspective than the ones that are, maybe US based. So you want to play around and find out what's in there. Never limit to full text. This bookmark came out of, this is something I actually developed for all the library classes, because I kept repeating the same things over and over to students. I said, we need to make this a bookmark, because people would say, I can't find anything on my topic. And then you start walking through their process and they limited it to full text. And when you limit to full text, what does that mean? You're eliminating everything else that we may have connected to and be in another database that Nova has, because you limited it to full text. So don't do it. Find it is when you have that little button that says find it, and it will take you to where we do have it. So don't be afraid of that either. Also think outside your major. So if you're doing, say, development and you're doing something maybe with hospitals, whatever, look also in health and medicine. Don't think it's all going to be under business. So think bigger than what you're actually in. If you're maybe building schools or doing something in another country, think global. Think outside where that information might be. Dissertations may or may not be relevant for you, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Again, for you, a lot of you, the interlibrary loan may be a big deal. Don't be afraid of that as well. Google Scholar I want to talk about, because even though we have almost 500 databases here, we know that some of you are going to use Google Scholar anyway. So if you go to Google Scholar, do it from the library's homepage. Why? Because if it's something that we have here, you're going to have the link directly here.
When you do it on your own, you're not gonna get this link, so you're gonna say, oh gee, do they have it? You're gonna have to go back, and go back into our catalog, go back into the database, go find it. So we're saving you the effort here. If you're gonna use it, do it through our homepage and see. So you can see a lot of them are linked up from here. PDF is right there. Any questions about using that? Again, if you're looking, if it's, the only thing about using Google Scholar, if it's, you know, you need to be peer reviewed, then you're still gonna have to go look it up and see if it is peer reviewed or not. Because that doesn't tell you that. Any questions about that? Okay. So you also have another bookmark on APA and the guide specifically to get you there. And the other thing that I want to mention today is I left a few of these postcards. Some of them got distributed. I also have my business card up here if you didn't get one. One of the committees that I chair here is workshops. These workshops are from the library. They are for faculty, they are for students, they are for the staff. And there's some things on here that you might find relevant, and because we have the whole calendar here, you can, there's a couple on writing, there's some on copyright, there's one on grants. So if you guys are interested in how to find money for your projects or your research, or even for scholarship money, you might want to attend one of these, and they're offered also during the year for students as well. Conference posters, Say It with Stats might be one later on in the year that you might be interested in. Data visualization, we're doing another one on that's being taught actually by a professor from the Computer and Engineering School. That might be relevant for you guys. They are going to be, you can attend online as well as in person, and there's also, when you go to register for any of these, you can, if you can't make it for whatever reason, there's a button to check for that, and it says, please send me a copy of the recording, so you can receive it after the fact. And the big one is in January, on the 28th, we're having a full day of publishers come in. Right now, we're working on who that is. That's another one they're heading up is the IEEE Emerald, which is a lot of business publications, Taylor and Francis, and I think the other one is that we're asking, Sage, which is a lot of research, to come in and talk about different things. Maybe when Sage is interested in how to get a case study published, which might be interesting for you. Once we get that, the schedule set up and who's presenting on what, that will be publicized, and it'll be on the workshop page, but you're also, your professor can let you know about the details on that. Any questions about the library, the resources? Sorry?
We know where to find you.
Okay. And there's more of us over there. I mean, we have one, there's 16 reference librarians. So, we're all there to help you out.
Thank you very much, Susan. All right, what we're going to do now is introduce you to a couple of the faculty members that you're going to be working with over the semester, and start with our most senior person, Professor Sam Miguel, who has been with the program pretty much from the very beginning for about 7 years. Very distinguished background, and a fellow sort of numbers guy. So outstanding person. You're going to love it. Okay.
Welcome everyone. I'm the most senior. I had a birthday yesterday actually, and it was kind of surprising. I always make fun of like millennials and things, and at 5:30 in the morning, my sister came over with my nephew and my niece, and they had balloons in front of my house, and it was very embarrassing. And my niece said, "Since there's a good bit of news today." I said, "What's that?" She says, "Well, you get discounts at restaurants." And she says, "You can go to the Marlins games for free on Thursdays." So, happy birthday! I'm getting kind of old, so I really don't have anything prepared, which is good because I can talk for hours at a time, so it's best not to have anything. But I want to welcome you above all else. I think it's an important step that you've all taken. And let me ask a question. How many of you are coming back to school after not having been in school for a while? Yeah, fair number. It's gonna be a challenge, you know, I did a master's some years ago, and I'd been out of school for a while, and it was shocking. I thought I was prepared. But I was working at the time, and, you know, so I can relate to what you're gonna, you know, go through. The encouragement is, I think you've got a group of instructors here that are gonna work with you. Ultimately, none of us who are here are doing this for any other reason than to share the things that we've picked up over time. I think I coach football also. I'm at my old high school, I coach football, I coach soccer. And I also do it there, as I think all the instructors, we do it because we want to share everything that people have given us. You know, ultimately, what if we've seen further than others, it's because we've stood in the shoulders of giants. And I think we want to share what other people have, you know, given us. So I was speaking with one of you earlier. I'm working with 3 former students right now from 3 different cohorts, helping them get a business going. And there's no economic interest in this right now. It's just trying to support them. And so we're here for you. We're here to help you get to whatever goal or whatever dream you want to accomplish, and it's all possible. Okay, so just a couple of things I do have. It's a phenomenal program. There had been a precursor to this program. There had been an MBA with a real estate concentration. Some of the folks that were involved in the program, one of which is still on the advisory board, thought it'd be a good idea to sort of, you know, make it a really focused program on real estate development. And we kind of made that transition, I want to say it's 7-8 years ago, 2007, 2008, sometime in that time frame. It took a while, the university bought off on it. You know, we kind of had good times, bad times, and, you know, going half mad times along the way. But the one constant has been that I think we've had students that have wanted to learn, students that have wanted to go to another level. And I think to the extent that people have wanted to go there, to become better professionals, to learn new skills, to enhance the skills that they have, what the program will do for you is shortcut a tremendous amount of time from work. And I tell people in my personal experience, this is my personal experience, if I look at a program like this, if I'd been able to do a year and a half when I started in the real estate industry, I would have shortcut 5-6 years worth of learning in that year. I think that's the value that we can give you. You can go through a lot of school of hard knocks in the business and shortcut it here, but it requires your initiative, right? To take advantage of all the instructors that are here and all the material that is put out in front of you. I'm not going to do anything in regards to my class. I am going to leave you. I'm on the second half of this semester. So I'm on, I think I start the 24th of October, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing that from memory. It's here in the syllabus. It is in fact the 24th. There are only, I'll leave you the syllabus. This is the complete, detailed, I'll leave it here. Please pick it up. I will also email it sometime in advance. But I will echo what Dr. Forgy has told all of you, which is to check your emails. That is the only mechanism that we have to communicate with you. I know, especially some of the younger people, they don't check email. You know, I'm not on Snapchat. I'm on a lot of other things, but I'm not on Snapchat. So you won't find me there, okay? I don't like the texting. The way the university, when I started here, the university recommended that we communicate with students through email. And I find that it works very effectively. So check your emails. That's how you will hear from me. The only thing that I ask you don't need to spend a lot of time looking at the syllabus. There's a lot of like boilerplate stuff in there. The only thing that I encourage you to do is to go out there and buy the book now. It's available. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Amazon in paperback version, and it'll be the cheapest textbook that you buy. If you go here and buy a hard, you know, unfortunately these things start costing like hundreds of dollars and all that. Okay. Pretty economic. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of self-learning in a graduate program. So we can't cover in 4 sessions. We'll go over 25 chapters in a book. I can't chew all that for you in 4 sessions. But what I can do is go over what I perceive to be important, and more importantly, I can answer the questions on the things that I don't cover that you have concerns about. So it does require advanced reading. If you come to the class, what happened this term I'll tell you. But I do have a class that I teach that does have a pop quiz in it. So if you come to the class and you haven't read, you're not going to do very well on the pop quiz. So you won't have that in this class, but I warn you that if you come in and you haven't read, you might not be able to follow the lecture. And more importantly, I think you're going to miss out on concepts that will be helpful for you in this class and in your personal life. This particular class, I find students, I love teaching it. Students love it because it involves a lot of concepts that we ultimately then want to rely on in our personal lives. You know, the S&P 500 was down, 63 points yesterday.
That's only 3%.
Understood, but the question, right, but the question comes, what do I do now, right? You know, if you read the Wall Street Journal this morning, what are the 5 things you don't do now, right? But people want to know that, what do I do with my retirement account? So the purpose of the class isn't to teach you any of that, is to teach you concepts that you can put in practice in the industry, but they're skills and thoughts that you can parlay into other things into your life. So students like it, but if you don't read, then it becomes very difficult to figure out what to do. So get the book now and be on the lookout for an email from me to start reading, okay? This is going to be hard work. I promise you that. It's going to be hard work. And I was sharing with one of your fellows a little while ago. My nephew, who's here visiting for the summer, my sister's got him going to the library at UM every day to do his summer reading, and he's got all the problems. He's on his Instagram and Snapchat and all that. They can't get his work done, right? So the answer the other day to my question was, how long are you there? And he said, oh, it takes forever. I can't wait till it's over. Mom's making me be there 4 hours a day. And the problem is, if you look at the work that you're going to be handed with, as a drudgery, as something that's difficult, as a challenge, and I can't wait till I get this class over, you've got the wrong approach. The right approach is, what am I learning out of this? And I understand, and I think all the other instructors understand, that we all want something different out of this program. We all have different backgrounds. We've had people in this program, as I'm sure that we have across here, which are a cross-section of people that are in the industry or that are coming from outside the industry. People that are architects that want to know more about the business side. There are people that are construction, have a construction background and want to come more into the development arena. There are people that have a brokerage or marketing background that want to know a little bit more about how the projects are put together. There are finance people that want to know a little bit more about the entitlement or the law component. Everyone's got their own story. Everyone's got their own goal. Everyone's got their own objective. We can work with all of that. I think the only thing that you need to do is try to get out of the program what's being put in front of you. I'll leave you with this. You can be anything. Okay, this is my speech at the end of the year, right? Anything that you want to be. It only takes one thing, and that's hard work. If you put the work into it, whatever objective you've got out of this program, you can meet it. We'll work with you. We understand that not every class, not all of you are going to want to know a lot about financial reporting or maybe about construction management or law. But you're going to want something, and everything, it's all additive. It all builds and makes us better professionals. So with that, I want to welcome you to the program. I'll let the other instructors speak, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Okay?
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Our next instructor is going to be your first instructor, Mark Troy. And I met Mark through, actually, the Urban Land Institute. So right there, it's a great way to kind of, this whole opportunity of networking with folks from across the region, across the country, through these professional associations can't be stressed enough. The Urban Land Institute, NAOP, ICSC, all of these are great organizations that you have the opportunity to meet a wide variety of professionals, and Mark is someone that teaches not only for us, but also is teaching for NYU's development program, as well as University of Miami's program. So Mark brings a pretty wide background in urban development sort of projects, and really thrilled to have him. This is his first semester with us, and so you'll be seeing him obviously next Saturday. But Mark?
Thank you, Fred. And we'll let Fred do the honors.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll facilitate this, and I'll keep this for just a moment. So welcome. It's a pleasure to see you all here. And I'm glad we have this opportunity to get to know each other a little bit, because yes, as I said, you have a homework assignment for next week. But I want to echo my predecessor's comments. It's really all about your effort, number one. Number two, it's taking advantage of all the resources. You heard Susan Berkman talk about the library, and you heard how Professor Sam Miguel basically was saying this is an additive process. It truly is. And part of what I want to compel you all to understand is that it's not just real estate in a box. We're not isolated from the world. We're a part of it. And in fact, real estate can only be understood if you understand everything else that's going around you. So I think this is why Dr. Forgey said that we want to have the development course first, because it's an introduction. And so I have a syllabus there. There's a lot of that boilerplate too as well. The key document is what actually I'm going to hand out in just a minute. But to me, resources are key. And I was talking briefly to Rebecca, and I will mention, people will say, well, where did you come from? What did you do? I'm just going to give you a brief CV, if you will, a curriculum vitae for who I am. I'm a developer. I build. But how did I get to that point of building and developing? It's a long path, and it really started, well, I guess with my Lego when I was 5 years old. And I know you may laugh, but that's what sparked whatever it was. My mom and dad actually lived in Sweden, in Scandinavian countries, and went to Legoland before it came over here, and wow, I was hooked. Okay, so that grows into, in fact, I went to Harvard undergraduate, I studied economics, the dismal science. But it's dismal because, oh boy, it tells you everything you probably need to know. And then I went to architecture school at Penn because I always wanted to build the buildings, if you will. And then from there, I said, but wait, I have a bias. It's not the architect who builds. He's not the master builder anymore. It's the developer. And I went to Wharton to get my MBA because I said, I want to put into action the things that I have learned. And that led me to my career, and I've been out there for 30 years doing all sorts of wonderful, interesting things. And I'll talk more about that in our class, and you'll see case studies and examples of the things that I've done, and hopefully you'll be excited by that too. So looking at that kind of varied career, I'm sure all of you come from different backgrounds too, and I hope that you'll take advantage of what you've learned in any part of your past life to do that. But to do it well, to me, it's all about taking the time and effort. And of course, yes, we've got this big, thick, heavy book. Some of you apparently have already read it. And a lot of the great books are from ULI. And you'll see in the syllabus, this is required. And by golly, just order it, buy it, or do whatever today, tomorrow, certainly no later than Monday, because yes, you need to read chapters 1 and 4 before next week's course. Remember, we've got really an intensive course. We're putting an entire semester into 4 key days. And so if you're prepared, you're going to get a whole lot more out of it. And by the way, I don't teach the textbook. I teach the subject. You read the textbook, and that will inform you on the lectures and our class discussions. Now, I want to make a really strong point. You can go online and look at these lectures, but you won't learn. That's my bias, because you have to be in the class and we have to be discussing it. So class participation, that hand going up, Claudius, the old-fashioned way, is the way to be engaged. And we'll have individual presentations, we'll have some group efforts too as well. So yes, there's a textbook. There's another one I didn't bring. I call it, it's my little dictionary. You'll see it on the list there. Hopefully you can find it. I know you can click it online with Amazon and go from there. But guess what? It's not about the textbooks. It's also about the resources. And I think the library has wonderful resources. And by the way, if you just make the mistake of Googling everything, you won't learn. Going to Google Scholar helps, that still doesn't get you where you need to be. And so I'm going to make a requirement. And I can't force you to do anything. You could not buy the book for all I care, but then you probably won't pass the course. Now, I don't care really if you read it digitally or in the old-fashioned ink version, but there's no reason in this day and age for the $1 a week or the $1 a month or whatever it is that both the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal will make you as a student pay for you not to be a subscriber. Now, you can find the resource in the library, but you have to know what you're looking for. But, gee, there is something to be said for looking at the paper, and, if you look at the front page of today's New York Times, you say, what does that have to do with real estate? Stocks plummet. Oops, stock plunge picks up speed. You know that will affect, what's the most basic thing that a stock plummet will affect? Anybody know? Anybody want to guess? What are you going to say?
Real estate.
Well, real estate, yes, but it affects, interest rates, it affects money supply, it affects everything. And if you can't build without having the resources, well, oh, by the way, let's see, Las Vegas, CD concedes to construction on Sunset Strip. Okay, there's lots of stuff in here. In fact, if you don't like to browse the paper, and by the way, I think it's a great idea to look at things, because you may say, wait a second, what does one man's hidden treasure have to do with what's going on in real estate? I don't know, but look what Wall Street Journal does for you. They summarize everything already for you. Look, we're going to start off every class with news of the week, economic news of the week, real estate news of the week. And if you get into the habit, it's a really easy habit, by the way, of reading, of embracing information, then you're going to be a better informed, not only real estate person, but just person in general. As the professor is saying, you'll be able to apply this knowledge in all parts, all spheres of your professional and personal life. Now, I'm not going to make you buy this. Unfortunately, I talked to the South Florida Business Journal folks, and they say, well, yeah, we can give it to them for $92 a year. Okay, if you want to spend the $92 or find the special for $75, I encourage you to go buy the subscription for it. You can click, at least make this a bookmark so that you can get better access.
Just want to inform you that the library does have a database subscription to the South Florida Business Journal. It's under the business databases. I forget what it's called. I think it may be called South Florida Business Journal, but in there, not only do they have South Florida, but they have all of the business journals in the U.S. So if you're in a different area,
That's a great
you can look it up.
resource. Definitely. And so, once again, I like to have immediate access, but nowadays you can get kind of the free access, but the key is to be informed. And here, this is the issue that arrived yesterday. South Florida's building boom has not included the office sector until now. Actually, I still haven't seen any building built, but we'll see if that happens. But we're going to learn about why that hasn't been the case. Because everybody knows the building's going on, right? What's being built right now?
Residential.
Residential, right. Why? We'll figure out why. Okay? So, resources are important. Reading is fundamental. Oh gosh, I'm such an old guy. Remember RIF, reading is fundamental, because it really is. It really helps open up your world to you. So, yes, I handed out the syllabus. The key for the syllabus really is just to give you the fact that you'll see there's that big list somewhere in the middle there, which is the required text, which is Rick Piper's book, a few other items. And by the way, we'll go through it. Yes, it's the ULI Annual Emerging Trends book. I'll send you the link. We'll make sure we put things up onto Blackboard. I hope you all get familiar with it, because I'll put the PowerPoint up into Blackboard. I'll expect your assignments to come to me through Blackboard, so you're all going to become Blackboard pros. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's a great tool for us to use. And so that's important too as well. And so the books there, I also have a lot of recommended books. And the library has a number of them. I was looking through the list here. I don't have them up there to scare you. I have them up there to make you realize that there are tremendous resources. And I'm a big fan. I've been a member of the Urban Land Institute since 1988. My goodness, so it's a long time before most of you were born, right? Most of you, right? Not you, I'm out right there, right?
Don't let looks deceive you.
No, okay. It is the opposite way. Oh my gosh. But you know, ULI is a great resource. You know, you're all going to become members of it, and I really heartily support that. So now, I do have a grid here, if you will, and if you can all just help me pass that around. Will you, Kyle, please? And if you can push that around. And so this grid is really just a kind of an outline of basic class structure and the course readings, if you will, in assignments. You'll see in there, does everybody have one here? I have a lot of TBAs, to be announced, because we're a work in, or an art in progress here, if you will. And I need one back, actually. Thank you very much. And so the print is small, forgive me for that. So we've got 4 classes. I just want everybody to be ahead of the game here to recognize that our first class is going to focus on introducing you to the development game, and we're going to focus on multifamily/residential product. The second one is office development. The third is industrial and land, and we're going to finish up with retail and mixed use. We'll give you a feel for the flow of the course. I may have to repeat some of this for those of us who aren't here next week, but hopefully you'll bear with me. You get the head start on some of our peers who are missing. You'll see what the discussion is like, and then you'll see also the reading assignments. Pretty easy. Chapters 1 and 4, 2 and 5, 3 and 6, 7 and 8. That will get you through the book. But for next week, we are going to focus on learning more about resources. We're going to have you all be subscribed and signed up for REIS, Real Estate Information Service. We're going to have one of the account managers from REIS give us a lecture on what that's all about, because if you've got great resources, you have hopefully the opportunity to create knowledge from that information. Susan will also come back, and then we're going to have our site visits as well. And I have a project and homework assignment. And the goal for this assignment is really for me to learn about you and for you to learn about your peers in class. You'll see, I'll read it out loud. I want a 300 to 500 word paper. Basically, it's 2 to 3 pages. Choosing a developer you admire and tell us why. Describe their key project and why you believe it to be noteworthy. What was the impact or contribution? And then I'm going to have each of you stand up and present. You know, part of being a good real estate pro, a developer, or whatever part of the real estate field you're in, is being able to present your ideas and to do so effectively and compellingly. You know, perception, reality here is so. You're going to write that paper, you're going to hand it in, so to speak, get it to me through Blackboard, and if you fumble on that, at least you'll hand it in to me physically on that next Saturday as well. But then I'm going to get you up, and this way your classmates are going to learn a little bit about yourself, and I have a little other method to my madness too, is as I learn about you, then I'll be able to see who knows what, and hopefully put you into some groups and teams for the work that we're going to do during the course. So that's my introduction. Do you have any questions for me? Yes?
In reference to this paper, do you still have to upload it to Blackboard, or do you physically bring it in?
You know, this first week, as long as you get it to me, that's the key, okay? Because not everybody may know how to do a Blackboard, so yes, and I will say, I will want the electronic file at some point, but at the very least, hand me the physical file for our class as we meet at 8 a.m. Yes?
This book is available now, not through Amazon, because we won't have a chance to get it on time for next week, right?
Amazon 2 days.
So, I mean, I know that the library has a number of these books, right?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Not textbooks.
And the bookstore has them.
And the bookstore does, and yes, Amazon does, and as an e-book, you can get it instantaneously. It's in wide distribution. And yes, I know I'm saying get ahead of the curve, but you're going to need it. It's just going to give you good background. I know Rick, the professor, I mean, he's a good guy. He gives you the fundamentals, and we're going to expand upon that.
Just a
Yes.
note on the ULI, you also get a 35% discount when you join on your books.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
You might as well join now, and then you're going to buy 2 or 3 books from there.
So Fred, how do we get everybody on
That will be
board
taken
here?
care of this next week, but what you're probably going to be, unfortunately, best to do this first week is to buy it via Amazon.
And you probably get actually a similar discount, because like it usually costs $90, you get it for 70 something.
There's also used versions that you can get as well. It
You
is-
can.
Yeah.
I like new books, but that's your choice, yes.
Submittal of homework in Blackboard, are you gonna have drop boxes for each of the assignments, to receive these assignments, or is it gonna be sent to you by email within Blackboard attachment?
So in Blackboard, you actually post or upload your assignment, and then I can actually download those documents. You know what, I'm just gonna say right now, next week, everybody, I don't really want to be inundated by 25 different emails. Just get me the PDF, if you will, of that document, and the physical copy, because you may need it as a reference in class as well. So I'm going to let Susan and others teach you how to do the Blackboard thing, because I'm not an expert on it myself. I just know enough to be dangerous. And danger is one of my strong points. Any other questions? Okay, I'm looking forward to having you all next week, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Okay. Our next instructor is Tracy Lautenschlager. She has been teaching our land use law course for several years now, and is a practicing attorney in downtown Fort Lauderdale with Greenberg Tarrant. And so turn it over to Tracy to give you a little bit of perspective, and I think I've actually got a copy of the book that she will be.
Good, mine was tucked under my pillow. It means that much to me. And I need to pass these out. Oh, thank you. I've got one for myself. Yes. Hello, everyone, and congratulations on your decision to become part of this program. I think it's really it's going to be a valuable set of tools and skills that you're going to gain from the program. Land use law, it's the context, it's the universe within which your development decisions will have to occur. It doesn't come out of the ground if the local government doesn't approve it, right? So it's like the pond we swim in. And its origins go back to nuisance law, very early concepts in the law, and yet they translate into what I would call some pretty fiddly sets of regulations. And one of the fun things about land use law is that every jurisdiction that you work in is going to have their own set of rules. There are concepts that are uniform, but every local government can make up their own rules within a set of boundaries set by constitutional law. And that's the other fun thing about land use law, if you're a geek like me, is that you're dealing with very, very practical problems, trying to find solutions that work for your project in the context of very big legal issues of takings law and First Amendment rights and all of these giant constitutional concepts that come down where the rubber meets the road in land development. So that's what we're going to be learning about, the origins of land development, land use regulation, the limitations of it, how it becomes translated into codes that are administered by local government staff, and the concept that initially the landowner makes a decision about how they want to use their land, and the local government only sets boundaries or limitations on that. But what we've seen in the last 15, 20 years is that local governments have their own ideas about what they think you should do with your land. And so this negotiation begins with them in the context of the regulatory framework of how they can get from you as a developer what they want. Now, they don't have any idea how to make money on that land. All they have is a concept of what they want their community to look like. So there is a tension between investment-backed expectations for the use of the land and how to make the most money, which is what we're all in business for, and the local government that wants to improve the quality of their community. And they have their own ideas about how to do that. And over all that are elected officials who really have a whole different set of ideas. They start out wanting to improve their community, and sometimes they end up just kind of wanting to get reelected. So, and dealing with elected officials is very different than dealing with local government staff. And understanding, I've been practicing in land use for a very long time. I've been practicing 27 years. I worked for the Broward County Attorney's Office as a land use regulatory lawyer for 6 or 8 years. I did environmental enforcement and regulation also. I represented the airport for about 8 or 9 years. I did land use work for the airport, worked on the first iteration of the South Runway that died a death, and then they resurrected the South Runway project. And then when I came to Greenberg-Traurig, I started doing land use work, and I still have a land use practice, and I also have an airport-based practice, working with companies that operate at airports. But I've got projects in a half dozen, you know, I'm doing entitlements for projects in several cities around Broward County now, and I've worked in Palm Beach and Miami-Dade County also. So I have a lot of practical experience with this, and we'll weave this theoretical and the practical together. Okay, so more details about the class structure. You've got the information that we're going to be using with this. Nutshell, again, it will fill in the blanks of anything that we're not able to cover in class and provide a good reference for a national perspective on land use law. This is not Florida specific. It's more generalized. I will also be sending to you a couple chapters from a land use law, what in law school we call horn books, which is kind of a compilation of the law taken from cases written by Mandelker. It'll be just a few chapters. And then there'll be periodic assignments of articles. Now, the work that I'm going to have you do will be this. You'll do a case study in teams. You'll need to find a project that's gone all the way through approval in a local government in Miami-Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach County, and pull all of the records associated with that project. It has to have gone through at least a rezoning, perhaps a rezoning and a comprehensive plan amendment, and you'll analyze them. You'll analyze the staff reports, you'll pull the minutes. All this stuff is available as public records, and you'll work together to analyze the progress of that project from application through approval. And you'll make a presentation about it. Then I'll have you do an individual research paper on a topic. And then in class, and I'm not sure if we'll do it all on this part all on the last day or if we'll break it up, we will do an extensive exercise. I have a problem written about a development proposal in a theoretical city, and I've cobbled together sort of a mock-up of a set of land development regulations, and you'll reenact the approval process. Some of you will be the developer, some of you will be city staff, some of you will be neighborhood opposition, some of you will be elected officials. And you'll develop the opposition and the support for the project in a mock setting, and then you rotate. And you have to take the perspective of some of the other participants in the land development project. And I think it's very helpful when you're working on the development side, you become very narrow, and all that you see is the development perspective. This is a great project, it would be great for the neighborhood, it would make money for my investors, it would be beautiful, it would be architecturally stunning, but that's the only perspective that you see. When in fact you need to be able to step into the shoes of the local government staff and the neighborhood opposition and the elected officials to understand their perspective and be able to find solutions, because that's how you get to the end game, which is a set of approvals that you go to a lender and you can say, I have a fully entitled project. And as long as you give me the money that you should and we get underway in 18 months, nothing can stop me. This project can be done. That's the goal in the land use entitlement process, is to increase the value of the land by securing entitlements. That's what we will learn. I'm trying to think what else we can go over right now. I will probably ask that you communicate with me through my firm email, because that's where I am all the time. I might try to learn Blackboard, I don't know. I mean, if I'm required to, I will, but I have to say that I don't know what I just stepped in. If I need to, I will, but I'll say that I have a very, very full and busy law practice, and communicating with you through my firm email is probably best for me, but at least maybe we'll duplicate in that way. So electronic, whatever methods we can devise of electronic communication and submittals, this is all good to me. I'm not quite that old-fashioned, but I'll have to say that I'm not familiar with Blackboard at this point in time. And you can feel free to contact me through my firm email, at any time. That would be fine. Any questions?
This is a writing intensive course, and academic misconduct is emphasized. So are you going to be using something like Turnitin to filter that, or what are you going to be doing?
I probably will, yeah. I probably will. I have, what would happen in the event of discovered plagiarism would be a 0 on that assignment, and you don't have many assignments. It's hard for me to conceive that you could pass the course if there's a 0, and there will be no second chances.
We take that extremely seriously. You know, we've actually, over this past year, we've had at least 3 students that we have asked to leave the program as a result of academic dishonesty. So that is something we take extremely seriously. So do not, under any circumstances, plagiarize or use the work of others. We will find it out, trust me, okay?
And we don't even need to use Turnitin. I mean, just a writing style.
That's how I discovered it last year, was it was so clear to me that the voice of the writer changed. and any of us reading papers will have that same experience, I think.
You know, ultimately, you're cheating yourselves as students, and it's simple enough. Look, there's a lot of research that's already been done out there. There's nothing wrong with utilizing other people's thoughts to formulate your own conclusions. All we ask as instructors is you provide credit for those that have done the work initially. That's all.
And again, I hope I'm not stepping on an academic toe somewhere. I mean, my familiarity with citation is to law citation, okay? More traditional academic citation is so far back in my life that I am concerned that you acknowledge the source in whatever format. It's the honesty issue, that you acknowledge that you're utilizing the work of someone else and adapting it and incorporating it into your work. However you acknowledge it. If, you know, should you completely disregard citation form? No. But the most important thing is that you cite it somehow, and that you, because it's an honesty. It's an honesty issue. I don't know, academic folks, is that a fair response?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, Tula.
Is it feasible and wise to use a project that's underway now as a study, even though it's sensitive because zoning may not have changed and sensitive information, some of it? Should we use a real-life project that's ongoing and not finalized for?
The case study assignment will call for a completed project, so that there isn't necessarily any sensitivity. If you want to use an in-process project, I think we could still find a way to do that. We could, you know, communicate the academic nature of the request to the local government. They're all masters, they're all AICPs, have masters in planning. They had to do these kind of projects, and in general, the students have found the local planning offices to be very helpful. You know, they like the idea that their work is going to be used to help another professional advance their career, generally. So if a student wanted to jump into something that has not achieved its final approval or withdrawal, you know, a lot of these fail. They get pulled midstream because it becomes apparent that they're not going to be successfully approved. We can try to find a way to eliminate that concern for sensitivity.
And you're going to let us know prior to undertaking the project because we don't want to change anybody's
One of the
direction.
first things we're going to do in class, you know, is you're going to start, we're going to create your teams, you're going to start researching those projects, and I'm going to be available to look at them. You'll find them on city agendas, and we'll dig into them, and we'll evaluate whether it's a suitable project for the assignment together. So we'll do that together. Between the first time I taught this and the second time, I realized that that was very helpful for the students, for us to work together on selecting the projects. Because sometimes they were too old, and the records were too hard to, you know, pull. Some of them didn't have all of the elements that I want you to study in the case study. So we'll do that together. Yes.
Team composition, are you going to be selecting team members, or are we going to be required to assemble our own teams?
I have not decided yet. I have not decided. In general, you will probably get to work who you'd like to work with, but I'm still thinking about that. Anybody else?
Any first assignments due before next Saturday?
There's some reading. I need to send you the Mandoker excerpts, but you can read the Supreme Court case, Coons versus St. John's River Water Management District, and you can read a couple chapters in a nutshell. That would be good. And it starts familiarizing you with the lingo. And the Supreme Court case is really interesting because it's a very recent takings case from the United States Supreme Court that came out of Florida. So it gives us a window into takings issues.
Have you glancing through? I'm wondering about the weighted average or the weighted value of the different components of the grade. Is that something you're gonna let us know?
I will, and I'm trying to think if I can do that now based on considering that we're down to 4 class meetings too. I'm considering eliminating a midterm and having just a final. In which case, the case study, the research paper, and the final, I think they'll probably all be equally weighted, and there will be an element of grading for class participation.
Think about it.
Yeah, no, I think they will probably be equally weighted.
25%.
If I do a midterm, yeah, if I do a midterm.
Well, you can figure it out and let us know.
I will. I will. Anything else?
Great, well, thank you very much, sir. All right, now for the most important piece, lunch. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We technically have an hour scheduled for lunch. We've got the lunch, everything is ready to go. What I would like to do, we've still got a few more things to talk about, a couple of the other classes that I want to give you a little bit of information on, and I'll just do that while you're eating. So right now, go ahead and just start and make your way over and start grabbing your food, and then kind of get back.